Hey everybody, welcome back to Electric Cafe. Today's album review is on Duran Duran's 1982 album called Rio. Part of doing this channel is to do reviews of not only music that I like, but also music that's important in a supporting role. I feel like, and also music that I do like as well, and I think Duran Duran sort of falls into that category for me. There's a good 20 songs that I like about Duran Duran. I like a lot of their singles, but I find their albums a little lackluster for the most part. Rio probably is their best, so I'm reviewing that. But this is the second time me doing a review on them, and the first time I did a review on their debut album, I gave them a 58 out of 100. And on my scoring, that's a pretty good album, in my opinion. So I don't think it's an okay album. I don't think it's horrible. It's not very good. I put it as pretty good. I got a comment on it that somebody said that they hope that I don't do that I was way off, and that they hope that I don't do any more Duran Duran reviews. So sometimes when you have a review, you have an opinion, and you'll get some opposing opinions, and that's something I'll have to get used to. But I was a little disappointed that I commented back on them, and they had nothing to really. I was trying to be cordial about it. If somebody's rude, on my channel, or just being mean, I'm going to delete it. But there'll be an occasion where I actually want to discuss it. The reason for doing reviews is to talk about and discuss the music, right? So I don't have any problem with discussing the music. I'm not just giving my opinion and say that it's gold. It's my opinion, right? So if somebody has a different opinion, I'd love to debate it. And when it comes down to it, that's the great thing about debating music is you could debate music all day long, but it's still the person's opinion, right? So there's no wrong opinion, but it's still fun to debate music, right? Get a little bit of bags under my eyes. I didn't sleep well last night. I stayed up late watching hockey last night. Oh my god, it was like 12:30, 1 o'clock. Some of these West Coast games are really late, so I'm a little tired today. I should have had a second cup of coffee. But yeah, so unfortunately for that person, I'm doing a second review on Duran Duran. So apologize if you happen to see this and you were the one to tell me not to do it again. But I'm going to do it again because I do like Duran Duran. It's just my issue with Duran Duran is they aren't deep. I don't get anything from Simon Le Bon except that he thinks he's great, and he thinks he's cool, and he's picking up on girls. Like I don't get any kind of. There's nothing religious. I feel that they talk about. They might talk about it on a song or nothing, but I don't get anything from them when it comes to their views on the world, or the troubles in the world, or any of their background. I just don't get anything from Duran Duran's words, from their um, when you think of some of the songs, right? Like I can go through a lot of the songs I like. I mean, for one, Union of the Snake is about having sex. You know, All She Wants Is. I really really like that song, and I have three versions of that. I should have brought that out. Maybe I'll bring that out when I do the '88 album. I probably will, because one thing I got to remind myself is to bring out the singles when I talk about an album, and I did that for coming up on the electronic one. But I got to remind myself to do that a little bit more often, and just talk about this a little bit, just touch on the singles as well. But I love All She Wants Is. I love there's a Euro dance version, there's the acid house version. I love the US version, extended version. I literally have two copies of one, and then I have the UK copy because I love that song, and I love the sounds in it and the rawness of that track. The chorus is okay, all she wants is, and it sort of has the breathing in it and stuff. Like if you know the song, it can be a little corny, but it's about sex. I don't want your love is about love. Um, you know, is there somebody I should know? Hungry Like a Wolf, Rio. Like a lot of their songs, Notorious. I don't get a lot from their lyrics, and I think it's funny. I'm probably gonna do this on every Duran Duran interview. I feel like I have to defend my view on Duran Duran. I just don't find them very deep. It's just what it comes down to. I think in some ways they're an imitation of Japan early on in their career. They're not as good as Japan. They're not as good as Ultravox. They're not as good as shoot. I even kind of I, I think Psychedelic Furs are better than them. I almost think Fix is better than Duran Duran. Although Duran Duran has more material and more albums, probably more good songs, I do feel like Fix could be better in some respect than Duran Duran. I'm missing another one from their Japan Ultravox. Human League, I like better than Duran Duran. So it's just. I won't say I hate Duran Duran at all, but I just don't find much depth in their music, and I don't. I rarely. I can only think of one, and I'm trying to think. It might be El Presidente on their Notorious album, or it's one of the songs on there. It's rare that I pick up a Duran Duran album and fall in love with the track that I didn't already know that was a single. It's rare. Like I think that's why everybody kind of, oh, have you heard the Chauffeur? Like, oh, the Chauffeur is really, yeah, it's probably the one of the only ones that's good that wasn't a single. I really like New Moon on Monday. Obviously Save a Prayer is a great song on Rio as well. I probably figured that Rio is their best album. So I wanted to rate that just so I can maybe make amends with that guy that said I shouldn't rate any. Okay, well I'll rate the best one that I like then. I do really like their comeback album in '93. I feel like it was comeback album because Liberty in '91 was junk. But '93, they had a couple strong songs on it. Uh, I'm blanking on the name of Come Undone, and then also the popular one. Both those two songs were great, right? I mean, those were great songs. Um, haven't heard the rest of the album, so I'll be interested to review some of that album. But all the '80s albums I really know. Some of my favorite Duran Duran songs are Union and the Snake and oh shoot, I'm Skin Trade. I love Skin Trade too. Um, and again, I like New Moon on Monday, and I'm not a huge fan of Rio and Hungry Like Wolf, but I do like Planet Earth and Girls on Film. So I'll probably say I'll do this overview every time I do a Duran Duran video, but I feel like I gotta say some positive stuff so I don't get a bunch of slack. Um, but yeah, let's get right into the album since I just kind of already spieled a bunch of stuff about Duran Duran. Rio, the guitar is cool. I like the way it's sung. I like the melody and the sort of chilled out bridge with the sax. Kind of has a cool vibe to it. Kind of iconic video in some ways. Memorable. Played on MTV all the time. I can't say the song is excellent though, but I can understand how most people do. But it's one of the stronger songs on the album for sure. It's tied for my third favorite on the album. 3.5 stars. My Own Way. I think they're trying too hard on this album on this song. And this is a kind of a good example of the Duran Duran that's very indifferent to me. I got a star and 3/4. On the high side of okay. I do respect it for the sound though. It does have some nice appeal to it, but just doesn't really go anywhere. I think the chorus is kind of redundant and kind of boring. Track three, Lonely in the Nightmare, much better, 2.5 stars. Hungry Like the Wolf, I respect it for what it is. It's super catchy, but unnecessarily a song for me, but I give it 3.25 stars. It's a good track. Um, Hold Back the Rain, 2.25 stars. New Religion was actually one track that I did find on this that I had. It's been a long time since I heard the Duran Duran tracks, and again, I probably heard them like, I know the singles really well. Man, we used to my mom used to have Decades, the greatest hits, and we used to play it all the time. She played it all the time. I think that came out in like 1990 because it was before. Actually, it may have came out before the '88 album because it didn't have any of Liberty on there because I don't think. And then I'm trying to think if it had All She Wants on there or I Don't Want Your Love, which are the two singles from that. But it had like View to a Kill on there as well. But we used to play that album all the time, so I know all the singles super well. And of course, if you're around in the '80s, how could you not? How could you not come across and hear Duran Duran singles all the time, right? But my sisters still had the albums. Both my sisters still had the albums, and again, my mom really liked them as well. So they were played all the time in my house, not just on the radio on MTV. But New Religion is a sound I was listening to. It's been a while since I heard this album, and I was like, oh, I really like this song. Um, and I'll tell you the reasons why I like it, and it totally makes sense. And you compare it to other Duran Duran songs, and it doesn't have those. First of all, this has a cool beat. I like this. I like the Duran Duran songs that have a cool beat. All She Wants Is I Don't Want Your Love, right? I think Skin Trade has a really good bass line. Cool groove to it. New Religion has a cool groove to it. The guitar is nice. I like the more eerie keys on here, which is something a Duran Duran never really does. They can't really do a dark song, mysterious song. Maybe the chauffeur has a little bit of that, but New Religion has a little bit of that, which is cool. The bridge is musical because after they hit popular, there's no darker songs on here. They're kind of coming out of their new romantic period. Even after their first album, I don't think they really knew how popular they were going to be. Once Rio hit, then they became huge. Then you won't hear them try to sound like Japan anymore. Um, they kind of sound like Rio going forward, just regurgitated. Getting into a negative again, but I do like Duran Duran, just not all of it. New Religion. Also, the bridge is very musical. It's funky. It's smooth. At 2 minutes and 30 seconds, it has the standard Duran Duran change in songs that I don't like. I don't know if it's a certain octave that they all fall back to, a certain key. I'm not a musician myself, so I'm not great with octaves and keys and the structures of songs and stuff like that. But this is sort of or chord changes, but this is the change in the song at 2 minutes and 30 seconds of New Religion that I don't like. So if you care to check out that song, that's kind of what I mean. Like it goes back into that Duran Duran sound, and I just don't. It kind of it does go back into the good parts though, thankfully. But for a second there, it goes back into a Duran Duran sound that is their sound that I don't really care for. It kind of sounds too poppy. But it does go back into the nice parts that I like. 3.5 stars, really strong track. Last Chance on the Stairway, I really like too. 3 stars. Not necessarily the greatest chorus, but it's doable. Save a Prayer. It's arguably one of the best Duran Duran songs. I think when there's songs that are more popular, there's songs that are more well known for their videos. Obviously, Rio, Hungry Like a Wolf, and stuff like that. But as far as like the most complete, different, unique sounding track that Duran Duran ever did that was also a hit, Save a Prayer. Yeah, the keyboard hook is classic. It's so unique too, though. And it's also a good layered melody too, and it works well with Simon's voice. There's not a lot of times where I don't think his voice is horrible. Sure, he's hit some bad notes. I smile because if you know about his bad notes, you know. But I think he does. I think he does have a voice that can work with some songs, and with Save a Prayer, I think it works really well with the song. There's a little iffy note at the end there, but I think he passes with it. 4.25 stars. Great song. And the Chauffeur, 3 stars. I give it some credit because it's melodic and it's actually more musical. I don't think it's fantastic like a lot of people, Duran Duran fans, say it is. Um, but yeah, 27 stars divided by 9 songs on the album. 3.0, really strong score. I give it a couple extra points as well um, for being a little bit of everything. It's got probably my favorite Duran Duran song on there. Probably the best, arguably the best. Probably arguably the best dance Duran Duran song in Rio. Probably one of their most iconic videos tracks with Hungry Like a Wolf. And it's got a couple of good tracks that are on the more unknown with New Religion, The Chauffeur, Last Chance on the Stairway. So I gave it a couple extra points and pushed it into 72 out of 100. I think it's a very good album. It's a little short. It's a little fairly flat on the dynamics, but that's 1982 for you. Not necessarily the best sounding album fidelity wise, or sonically. That is, stereo spectrum is kind of it almost sounds like their early album. It almost verging on sounding like mono. Um, yeah, but good album overall. 72 out of 100. Probably going to be the strongest Duran Duran album. I would imagine. I think Arena is more like a greatest hit, so I can't review that. But I'll have to do what was Seven Tiger Snake or Seven Ragged Tiger, whatever it is. Tiger Ravaged Seven Other People or something like that. I don't know. But then I'll do Notorious and kind of go through the albums. But I am curious to do the 1993 album. I probably won't do any albums after '93 because I really don't like the new Duran Duran, and from what I've heard from the singles. But maybe I'll just pick one just for the heck of it and review it. But if it's not good, I probably just won't review it because I don't want people to think I'm trying to slag on the records. But I am curious to see what they've done in the last 30 years. I don't know any songs in the last 30 years except for the really popular one that was I think there was 2 really popular ones in the last like 10 years. Um, you know, there were sort of I don't know, kind of like corporate theme songs. Like for sometimes we used to go to like corporate events and they play background music for like these conferences, right? And to get people engaged and energetic, and you always hear that Duran Duran song there. One of the last few years. Is it called Thank You? No, it's not called Thank You. I can't remember. Anyways, 72 out of 100 for Rio. Strong album. All right, thanks so much.